The BRSC Player Pathway provides opportunities for growth and development for those who want to advance to the highest levels of play. BRSC Mudbugs is an introductory parent and me program focused on coordination and building comfort with the ball. BRSC Recreational is a relaxed atmosphere for players to enjoy competition without the stress of winning games. BRSC Academy introduces a structured environment with professional coaches focused on developing skills, creativity, and confidence. Pre-Competitive introduces players to the competitive level of play with an emphasis on refining technical skills and introducing more complex tactical components. Competitive is for players who want to compete on the local, regional, and national stages in the pursuit of growth and championships. LATDP Elite provides opportunities for boys and girls to compete at the highest levels of play in the country. Boys in MLS Next and Girls Academy. Both provide elite competition with exposure to college and national team scouts. Upon completion of the pathway, players can choose to advance to collegiate soccer with guidance from our staff and participate on local semi-pro teams, the BRSC Capitals and BRSC United.
Just want to share with you our player pathway for players here in Baton Rouge Soccer, just to kind of lead into the meeting. We're going to go ahead and get started, and folks, let's keep coming in. All right, I want to welcome you guys to our pre-competitive open house. My name is Marvin Smith, and I'm the director here at Baton Rouge Soccer. I am primarily, my role over the club, but also really heavily involved with the pre-competitive age group, which is our U10s, U11s, U12s, and changing the culture in those age groups. I've done this back a few years because I feel this age group is most vital to the sustainability of the club, for us to develop better players, so we pay more attention to them. All right. Back in the day, we would have, very early on, have teams at U10s, U11s, U12s, and what I found, because I've been here now 22 years, what I found when we put them on teams, we would have the top tier players continue to strive and get better because they train at a certain level, they play at a certain competition level, and where our second and third tier teams, they're not getting that exposure. So this program is designed to bridge that gap where all our players in those age groups are in the same training environment, the same training frequency, and in most parts, the same competition level. I would like, as we go through this, I have been criticized for this in the past, where this becomes more of a monologue, and I stand here and I preach, right, and people say, I feel like he's just lecturing us. I do have a lot to say about the game, and particularly I have a lot to say about this program, but I want this to be more of a dialogue. I want for you guys, any questions that you may have with regards to these age groups. Some of you guys are in the program right now, maybe in your first year, you're not sure what year 2 looks like, or year 2, you're not sure what year 3 looks like. I want this to be more of that type of environment where you guys have the questions. Right? So, the importance of, or the objective of this meeting is for us to go ahead and just introduce staff, and I'm going to zoom through those, right? Because our staff, the age group leaders or age group directors, they remain the same, so I'm going to quickly kind of go through them. The other staff members kind of change in and out based on what we have. Provide an overall view of the program to kind of give you an idea, just a synopsis of the program for those of you guys who may be totally new. And then ignite passion. Let's ignite passion. I want you, the parent, to buy into this, to see the benefits of this, to see the rewards of this for your individual players, so you have a certain passion towards this program itself. Consider club first. I always talk about this to families. Consider club first. I think you consider club first. This is a humongous organization. And if you just, within a team, you miss what this is. You miss the opportunity to really grow because you're just in one team. So think club first, and that helps the individual player to be their best. think club first, an individual player, and team would be successful. All right, I want to present some proposed changes. Okay, so I know some of you guys who may be in the program now saying, oh my God, it's changing some stuff again. That's the beauty of this program, where it's not stagnant, right? It's constantly evolving to where we think it's best for the players. And then address your questions or concerns. All right, really quick, I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago, played professionally in college and all that stuff. This stuff is readily available. Melissa is in charge of our girls side, so U10, U11, U12 girls. So is Stephanie. And I know I'm going through this kind of quickly. You can't read their bio right in full, but I'll tell you this: an outstanding staff in terms of playing background, coaching background. Melissa, I think, has won 4 state championships for high school level, and Stephanie is her assistant coach. Stanley Johnson, he just drove by. Stanley is one of our full-time guys in the office. He's currently on his A license, and imagine that. Myself, an A license coach, Stanley, who's now getting his A license. We're the guys in with the youngest age group. You think that we are with MLS Next or top tier team. We are in this age group. Chris Stewart, you guys may be familiar with him, some of you guys, because you regularly visit the soccer store. But Chris owns the local soccer store called Third Coast, which is one of our partners. And Chris has also won a state championship at high school level. Caleb Bush is a full-time member of our staff, and Caleb is over our U10s program on the boys side. Chris Mitchell is also, I think, a 2 or 3 time state champion on the high school level, and A license coach, full-time staff member, and he is, this year was over the 12 girls. Adele is a D license coach. Adele has been with this program for the past 4 years, so really entrenched in the program and has been really big for us. So the video kind of went over this a little bit, the player pathway for a player in Baton Soccer. So a player, we hope, enters somewhere in Mudbugs. In Mudbugs here, 3.5, 4, or 2.5, body train, they can enter. So Mudbugs, the next step for them is into the recreational program, so somewhere in there 4 or 5. We also have the academy, so players who are ready at that age and want to get into the academy program, they can. And then we have the pre-competitive, which is us now. The pre-competitive is a bridge between our academy and then our competitive program. Again, the idea here is not exposing the players too soon to this rigid competition schedule. And then at the top we have LATP, which is now our highest level players, and then the elite, which is now our girls academy, which is the highest girls league in the country, and then the MLS Next Boys, which is the highest boys leagues in the country. So those players are here with us, and these two programs are the highest. We usually draw players from around the state and some of our neighboring states as well. So this is it, partly for a player coming in. You guys are here, and certainly we hope that you guys have your sights set on the highest level. For us, the mission statement kind of outside of our mission statement for the club. The mission statement for our PCP, and I know, right, PCP is not a good acronym, but I'm going to go with it, right? So PCP mission statement is, at the very heart, is the individual play development. Okay, and you're going to hear that over and over and over. It's play development, right? A lot of times you hear people say, well, we want to be on a team, we want to sit in, and we come back and say, well, this program is all about the individual play development and how that player is going to fit into a group, into a team later on down in their career. And so here in this mission statement, we want to make sure that we are now fostering confidence in our players. Confidence to absorb stuff and to be able to regurgitate that stuff, implement that stuff as they play. Responsibility, okay? We feel very highly about this. I know there are some things out there people think that if I have a certain coach, or if I'm around a certain player or set of players, then that makes me better in itself. And we tend to think a little bit differently. Okay, the responsibility of a player's technical proficiency, okay, that's their responsibility. We set the environment up. Dribble here, cut here, do this, do that. We set it up. The players, their responsibility with what we set up to go after it, to acquire those things, to do it on their own outside of practice, is their responsibility. So we feel our mission statement responsibility is a huge thing for them in terms of their skill acquisition. Instilling good habits. So good habits, good pre-game habits, good pre-practice habits. Between game habits, how you approach the practice environment. All those things that we try to instill in good habits. Challenges. We have some challenges in there, right? So how do we challenge players? Maybe they're playing up, right? When I say playing up, maybe levels. Maybe we bring players in, and we do this with the alignment in the program. We bring players in from a younger age, probably up. Right? So different challenges that we have outside the team or the program, as well as inside. Accountability. So that has to do with responsibilities, things that we want to hold players accountable for. Something simple as equipment. Right? Your equipment, you're supposed to have it all at practice, you're supposed to have the shingles, cleats, all that stuff. We want to hold them accountable for that. Innovation. We will remain innovative here in Baton Soccer in terms of developing players, in terms of competition, and you're going to see some of that here in this program from year 1 to year 3. Passion. We certainly want our players to be passionate about the game, not so worried about what the score was when we do it, but passionate about their individual development. All these things, their individual development. And then once they get on teams and it becomes important for them to be on teams and compete, once the individual player development is there, then our teams will be better for it. Okay. This is the program. I know we've broken it down into the 3 years, right? So year 1 is our U10 program, and we like to refer to this as our foundation development program, foundation development phase. In this phase is where the players are now introduced to a lot of skill. Ball mastery is heavy in this first year. So you want to be comfortable with the ball. There will be some concept pieces in it. And in year 2, we refer to this as the structural foundation development program. And what that means now, we decided to add more structure in terms of concept pieces and stuff in the training environment. Year 3, we call this the Catalyst Development Program. It's in U12. This is where we throw in a lot of stuff at them. The tactics now becomes a little bit more in depth, a little more intricate, okay, a little more challenges in here in terms of them now understanding roles within groups and teams. We do try to achieve vertical alignment, and vertical alignment is across the 3 age groups. Like I said, we have players that we, from time to time, U10s is playing with the U11s, or some of the U10s play the U11s. Some of the 11s and 12s, even some of our 12s play our U13 team. The vertical alignment also refers to our coaching staff. So we do have coaching staff that are along all 3 age groups, so the girls side and the boys side. And that's to help us to keep connected to all 3 age groups.
Marvin, yes. When you talk about years, is it a calendar year or a school year that we're aligning with?
So we go fall and spring. So that's a school year.
But this next spring, our 2013s will only be pre-competitive in the fall.
Okay, so that's a good question. Okay. And remind me, can you come back to that? But yeah, that's it. Alright, so just really quick here, this is a philosophy from US Soccer, and I'm not going to bore you and read that out, but it's something that we hold as part of our cornerstone here in terms of our philosophy. This is our philosophy in terms of the program. Like I said before, we want to we highlight confidence, right? We want to make sure we instill confidence in players, and that's the reason for not locking them on team. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry if I'm on the A team, B team, second team, third team. Your confidence should come from what you can do on the ball and with the ball. Imagination, play with creativity. Leadership is what we start as well, because we want players to be leaders, and we think if they're confident, the more they step out into leadership. And leadership leads into good communication and good organization within a team. So those things are paramount for us. Soccer intelligence, we give those in terms of a tactical awareness and concept piece. The big one for us as well is players play without the ball. So hence we not worry about position and so labeling players to play a position. We want them to play without the ball. Right? And those are concepts that they learn in the program from year 1 to year 3. Speed of execution has to do with technique, which they start up in the year 1, and then solving the game. We want to solve the game with skill and imagination. Not just put the ball down the field, but to solve the game here. One we have as a side one is the movement after the pass, which relates to them playing without the ball. And at the end, we want to produce good citizens with good sportsmanship. We want them to take responsibility and be accountable for those things. We also talk about the myth about playing position. So the myth about playing position. So we want to get away from, if I play a certain position, I'm good, but if I play something else, I'm not. That doesn't make any sense. It's not good, and we don't want a child to believe that. Okay, so there's no myth about playing position where I'm a forward or I'm a left back. So we move the players around, and moving them around is to develop them. Right, so they experience different areas of the game. The drop-in effect, we talk about this where if the individual player is better for it, they can go out and play anywhere. An example is my son is in school in Japan right now, and he sent me a video there where he's playing in Japan. Doesn't know, he can't speak the language, doesn't know anybody, and he's playing. That's a drop-in effect, he can play. Right? And right away they go, oh, you can play, you're a good player. Right? So the drop-in effect is where if we develop players, they can go play anywhere, doesn't matter. Process versus perfection. So what I mean by that is if we're just trying to be perfect, right, then we're missing out the game itself and some better decisions that we can make. Playing versus competing. So when we play in this program, we want them to play and not compete. And I know some people may say, well, that doesn't make sense, Marvin. But when we talk about playing, we want to go play and have fun, enjoy, and try to showcase the skill, play creativity, do all those things. If they're competing, then they're now, oh my God, we got to get the ball up the field, we got to score, oh, we just get scored on. Competing is a bit different than playing. All right, so we hold that very, very dear to us. And so with playing, we talk about minutes, we talk about development of minutes. So we operate in this program heavily on development of minutes. So friendly scrimmages, tournaments where we can experiment, and then we can have experiential learning, we can have holistic experiences for the players, and then players play in multiple positions. Because we don't have to lock them in, oh my God, I gotta play this player as a center back, otherwise we may lose the game. I gotta play as a forward, otherwise you will lose the game. So we're not so focused on those things. Alright, let's go through here. A typical training session. We go through some sort of warm-up, technical ball mastery. And from year 1 to year 2, the times may change. In our periodization, it may change from week to week. The length of time we stay in here, but then we have some sort of concept piece. And then the concept piece may now address a bigger group. And then when we get to the third concept piece, it's now more a bigger group as we play. That's within a training session. Within a week, we may have where we train 3 nights a week in this program. So on Monday, we may be heavy on the technique piece. And then on Tuesday, or on Wednesday, let's say, we come back on the concept. So we now put them in the smaller groups and they go. And then on Thursday, because it's getting closer to now the event or games that we're playing on the weekend, they're more in something that's where we call situational play. Right? So it's now the team, kind of the structure, and how they're going to play on the weekend. Any questions, any comments? Okay, so again, we have some players that are new to the program. Just kind of quickly run through this. So our practice frequency, this program, we all practice 3 nights a week. And I made this change a couple years ago because again, I saw our black teams, which are our top level teams, they practice 3 nights a week. And our second tier team, the red, and the third tier team, the maroon, they practice 2 nights a week. And I'm like, well, it probably should be the other way around, right? But we do know that our maroon and red team, sometimes those players, they're that level because they probably do different things, right? And so training 2 nights a week allows them to do those other things. With the youngsters, we offer 3 nights a week, so pre-competitive. 3 nights a week, that's not mandatory, okay? We want you to be here because it makes sense for your development. But we may have somebody, again, that's probably doing multiple sports, extracurricular activity, that one night may not work for them. All right, so we do have a dress code enforced for practice. All right, so we register our players at this level. We register as a recreational player. So I know you guys are saying, well, wait, we're pre-competitive. Why we register as a recreational program? That allows us, and the benefits here allows us to have freedom with our players. Right, so the state doesn't regulate us as a, right, so they can't come in and say, well, you can't do this. For instance, the U10s, if we want to take a U10, he or she is good enough and we want him to go play or U12, the state doesn't have anything to do that. If we're competitive, we cannot do that. We have to get approval from the state to play that player out. So this gives us a freedom with all players, right? They're not LSA players, they belong to Baton Rouge, they registered us. So we can move those players around. Another benefit is delaying the decision with regards to the transition from going from rec to competitive. Registering them as recreational players, the players can participate in the pre-competitive program and participate on the rec team. And that's huge for us. We have players, a lot of our players, a high percentage of our players do both. So we don't want to take them off the rec team just yet. One of the things in the past that I would get is we're just not ready to let go of the rec team. We've been together for 3 years, we just don't want to do it, right? So this allows us to do that, or players to do that. You can play with your rec team as well as the pre-competitive. All we ask is that the pre-competitive kind of takes priority and also open communication. Because of our numbers, if we know a player is not going to be there, it's easy for us to fix it, to solve it. Right? So it's not a big issue for us. We just need to know. And opportunities for multiple sports. So we do have players that when basketball rolls around, they play basketball. There's a little bit of overlap between the two seasons. Same with football, right? The boys only experience football. Same with baseball. So this helps with the multi-sport athlete. Right, so they're not registered as a competitive team just yet, right? And so in this age group, we don't have any teams in the statewide league. Again, because that would be competition at a different level, right? Now, you'd say, well, Marvin, we want that competition. And I'd say, we get that competition. We get that competition when we go and play in tournaments. It's the same teams you're going to see. The same teams. We see those same teams in friendly matchups that we put together, right? So the competition is there. We just hand it differently. We're not going in the league where that game, the league or the result of the league is what places you the next year. So you can just take the significance of each of those games. You have to try to win. You have to go up after it, and you can just imagine we're trying to win a league game. And 2 or 3 players don't get in the game because the coach is trying to win that game. Okay, so all those things benefits out of us having a recreation. Our open door policy. Open door policy allows a player, a registered player in our program, within our BRSC organization, to go and train with another team or program, right? So we have some of our girls that train with a boys team. What a wonderful thing for them. Some of our girls train with a boys team. They're allowed to do that. Some of our boys, the younger boys, can go trade up. Sometimes a player may be struggling, whatever. It may make sense to get that player to go play down and train down so that they gain some confidence. Right? So the open door policy allows for that. It allows for if you miss a practice and you want to make it up. Right? Hey, Coach Marvin, where can I make this up? Okay, and you can go to a practice session. No coach can deny a player this right. You can go train whatever team, so long as you register here with us. We do have a periodization scheduling. I'm going to go through this real quick. It's just the period of time that we are working on certain things. So here we don't go, this weekend we played a game and we didn't score a whole lot of goals. We created a lot of chances. So on Monday we work on shooting. Or this weekend we give up a goal in a late game. So late in the game. So on Monday we're working on we got to defend better. Right. So in our periodization we are working in blocks. We're working in blocks. So if we are working on attacking, it may be a 4-week or 6-week block that we're working on certain things. Okay? This is ideal for player development. It's not all over the place. So you wouldn't just having any old practices. It will be somewhere within our periodization. Right? Here's what that looks like. This is our, this might be hard for you guys to see, but this is our U10 boys. And they have where you can, the weeks, they have 1-2 weeks where they're working on attacking. They have another 2 weeks where they're working on defending scenario in 1v1s. And then they come back the next 2 weeks to defending in pairs. And the next week, the 2 weeks, they're attacking in pairs. So it's a build-up, right? It's not just all over the place, anything that we throw at them. This is the 11s, which are 2013. And the color code represents the blocks that they're training. So they are in 4 weeks block as to what they're working on. This is the U12 or the 2012. It becomes a little bigger now, and it changes a little bit. 2 weeks working on defending, week 2 working on defending, week 3 working on small group defending, week 4, and it keeps building and building and building in there. Okay? And these are 6 weeks built out for us. Alright, so how does it work? So we're not in set teams. So on the weekend we have games going on. What we do is we have something that looks like this, which is a roster. So roster 1, roster 2, roster 3. The game schedule, right? And so you know where your child is playing, and that's going to be reflected on our play metrics as well. Here's another look at it. Again, it's color coded. It's color coded with the game schedule, where you're playing, the reminders of what the responsibility for the players. And these rosters, when you put these together, these are non-negotiable. So you as a parent, you're like, well, I want Johnny to play with Billy, and they're non-negotiable. We put these together. We put them together with many different factors. And it's not good player and bad player like most people think. There are many different factors in there: where we're playing, who we're playing, what we want to see. We want to foster confidence, so we put a player. We want to foster leadership, so we put players in certain place. So these are non-negotiable. Okay. Here's what we play in the leagues. We try to get about 20, 22 games. I think this spring season actually. We get in more than that. I think we get in somewhere to 24 to 26 games, right, in the season. And you may say, oh, that's a lot of games. So how do we do that? Well, the way we get that is by like 3 tournaments. 3 tournaments gives us, you get 3 games per tournament. So that gives us 9 games right off the bat. Those tournaments are spread out at least, most of the time it will be 1 tournament a month. And then we play some inter-club play dates. We have some play dates we call the PSL. The PSL, each play date we get 2 games. We play 3 of them, so you get 6 games. And then we do some friendlies with different clubs, which gives us another 5 to 7 games. So that's how we get to about 22 games on the season. I'm not doing a good job of you guys getting it. I'm talking the whole time. All right, we talk about playing time. I don't want anybody to worry about this, about playing time. It's just in there because it's part of our thought philosophy. We shouldn't worry about playing time. Our kids should play. Because again, it's not that level of competition. We're not trying to compete, we're trying to develop the kids. So the score doesn't dictate playing time and stuff. I do want to share, this is next year is the start of a new uniform cycle for us. Everybody will get a new uniform for the fall. So again, a uniform, this is from last year. The new ones are, I don't have a picture of them, but two kits. So I think a gray and a red. The red is away, gray is home. And then we have the practice uniform. The practice uniform stays the same, but the game day uniforms, they're changing this year. Typically, when it's a uniform cycle, our 10s on up gets the new uniform. Next year, when we do the U10s, because it's the second year uniform cycle, they would wear something different most of the times. And the reason for that is we don't want to go and pay to get a new uniform knowing that it's going to be out in a year, so we do something that's a little bit less for them. A lot of times they've used their practice shorts and then just 2 lower price jerseys. Yeah. At the end of the season, the year, we do participate in two events. One is the Open Cup, and the other one is Bob Abbott. So this weekend we have teams going to Lafayette for the Bob Abbott, and then the following weekend we have teams participating in the Louisiana Open Cup. Play evaluations. We do play evaluations in the fall. You may ask why in the fall only. We have them for the fall since July. They've got some stuff. There's no need to come back and give another evaluation. It is. That evaluation should suffice for the next 3, 6, 8, 10 months. Right? It doesn't change that quickly, so that we now we can give you almost the same evaluation, but it doesn't make any sense for us to do it anymore. Concerns within the age group. There's certain new players added to the pool. Socially, how that impacts. So we want to make sure we keep on top of that stuff. The impact of early versus late birth year. So we got to be cognizant of that, right? So a player with a late birth year. My youngest son is September, the end of September. So he is one of the babies in his age group. And as such, we gotta now be mindful of that and how those players are developing and what we expose those players to. It certainly has a huge impact in player assessment. So a player can be an early birth year, and right now that player is faster, a little bit stronger than a player late birth year. But we got to be able to tell and be able to assess that the player in the late birth year is probably a better soccer player. And we have a bunch of those here where we identify that's the soccer player, right? The other players a little bit ahead, and we got to be able to identify that. So we have to be able now to move the player with the late birth year along, give them opportunities where they're developing and being challenged and don't lose their confidence. So, and then the other thing is train maturity of the players. This is something that we hope it gets better as it progresses through from year 1 to year 2. You can see in year 1, we kind of allow them to still kind of running around between and water breaks and stuff, and kind of messing around. Year 2, we kind of start to lock down on that stuff, you know. Right? In year 3, no. So the train maturity, we're looking to see that grow and develop from year 1 to year 3. Physical development, we got to keep track of the players. We don't have the scientific means to do so, but we do have where we can look at it and see somebody that may be a little bit clumsy now because they're either going through a growth spurt or coming out of one. And so they may not look like, and then all of a sudden, 2 months, a month down the road, and we see them again, oh my God, what happened to Billy? Right? Because they're now showing better as a player. So that's something for us as well. And then, as I said, good training habits. Okay? We talk to them about these things excessively. Alright, I'm not going to get into this. This is some stuff that we talk about as a staff when we talk about coaching versus development. We are certainly, there is some coaching in development, right? Because coaching is teaching. When we talk about coaching, is not telling the player everything to do. We want to develop them, right? So where they're having their own say in the game. Right. This is one for us, the difference between practicing and coming to practice. So we talk to players about this again excessively. You drop your child off to practice. Okay, you may stick around or you may leave, and then on the ride home say, "Hey, it was practice. It was great, whatever." But in that practice, that player didn't pay attention. They kind of joke around the whole time. They mess around the whole time, right? And so they didn't practice. They were there, but they didn't practice. They didn't absorb anything. They didn't have a responsibility or take responsibility to get themselves better technically. But they were there. So there's a huge gap between coming to practice and practicing. And we remind players of this over and over and over. What's the meaning of playing your position? So we ask, what does this mean, the position? You know, in soccer, what does that mean? It's not you stand here and it's one thing that you're responsible for. So we lead them and ask them, what do you think? What is that? What is a position mean to you? All right, and then for us, the question of what is positional play. And by year 3, this becomes more apparent for the players. Positional play is where I am in the field relative to the ball and people around the ball. And that's positional play, which supersedes playing a position. Playing position. My angles, my distance, based on people around the ball and where the ball is. Alright, objective for player placement. This helps us to enter clubs probably in a league, right? And this has to do more with for next year, where we, based on numbers, but numbers are good, where we form our own league. One of the reasons for that is when our numbers are really big this year. So if we were able to make 6 rosters, there's no other club that's doing anything like this. And so for us to have another club with 6 teams in the age group to play doesn't happen. So we want to give a league in-house that allows our players to get more developmental minutes, more games within a structured environment. Some of the things that we discuss, and we're going to roll this out in more finality, more detail. Boys and girls, do we separate them? Or do we have some of the girls play with the boys, the ones who probably desire to play with the boys, instead of saying everybody does it? How do we set the teams? So we want to set the teams, and one of the ideas is to have representation from all 3 age groups, because we talk about that vertical alignment. When they play in the league here, the roster looks like that. So they players from the 2012s, 2013s, 2015s, 2014, 2013, 2014, 2015s. Team. And in those league games, we are looking to see the learning outcomes from practice. We're looking at the younger player playing a year up or a few months up. Can they now emulate some of the things that the older players are playing? So we feel that this is really healthy for our program. So it's something, if our numbers allow, we're going to look at for the fall season. Alright, when we do play outside, so let's say we play in PSL, we go to a tournament, those rosters that we play in the in-house league will be different. Right? And those rosters would be based on what the event is. So it might be a tournament, we may have one team playing up. well, we don't want to put the player that's going to struggle up, right? That's not right to expose them to that. So those rosters we build out based on what we're doing, based on how the players, the individual players are doing within those league games, within practice environment. Those rosters will be different. Does it make sense? Any question in that? Okay. So the question about the U12, at the U12, so year 3, we continue, in the fall, we continue to have the pod training, we're changing up the rosters in the spring of the U12 year, we put them on a little more set roster. All right, so right now we have 4, in the U12 boys team, we have 4 teams in the league, and the U12 girls, we have 3 teams. So those rosters, and I say somewhat set, it's still a program, so we're still going to move players, we're still going to club pass players, right? When I say move players, don't get like, oh, when my daughter is, or my son is here, why are you moving them over? It's going to be extra for them. Right? We're going to invite them to play and do more. So this again is a bonus for the players. So in the spring, the U12, only the U12 year, we put in on more structured teams. All right, so first, let's focus on scores, results, more focus on the player development, that whole process. The player assessment, focus on player assessment. And player assessment for us is how they're doing in the practice environment, how they're doing when we play the games, regardless of the level, what are they doing, and how are they evolving. The warm-up first is a really crucial piece of the puzzle. The warm-up first is a measurement first. So in each of the programs, the warm-up, they do a warm-up for the season. So in the fall, we have a warm-up exercise that they do. The 12 boys right now, it looks simple, but it's a real intricate exercise that they're doing that have them look at their body shape, their distance, their timing, their movement, their angles. And so that's a measurable for us. Because if we tell a player from the first day within a warm-up, here's your body shape, here's your angle, here's your distance, you want to drop off a bit, you want to expand a bit. If we give them that from day 1, and that's consistent till day 121, we should be able to measure the player and absorbing it. If a player is not, that's on that player, right? We talk about responsibility. Because it's every practice or every pre-game they get in this. So that's a measurement for us. We also do repeats. So there are things in the practice that we repeat to see again if they're absorbing stuff, if they're grasping the concept. And repeats is not necessarily just go the same thing over. The repeats will have what we call layers in them. So we're repeating an exercise, but then there's a twist. And we don't do that with everybody, right? Again, if the concept, most players grasp the concept, then the challenge within that repeat now is, okay, all right, so now here's the next piece, the challenge. All right, so we have those as well. Technical recognition, and then the application and confidence with that technique. Leadership again comes back as a big one for us, and we're less focused on the playing position. All right, so the PCP objective from year 1 to year 3, no, it's the same thing. All right. We did this already. The general concerns. All right, I want to play a couple of clips for you guys. And bear with me, and then I know you guys have questions. But I want you guys to look at these clips. For this one, I want you to look at or listen for coaching versus player development. And this is not trick, it's not just to kind of help you guys to see what we are trying to get here. Oops. So, Alright, so question for you guys. Based on some of the things I just went over you guys, any observation from this clip? In regards to culture, in regards to players playing, anything that I just went over you guys? Not everybody at one time.
Technique, they pass the ball back. They move the ball to get in a better position you taught them to pass the ball, not to just move forward.
Right.
They pass it all the way back to the goalie like, you know, the professionals would.
Yeah, I can't take credit for that, that's not my team. but you're right? So the way they move the ball, so technical proficiency. Right, they move the ball. Right, the player on the touch line where the guy came in, he did a nice roll back, and right, the confidence. How many players, as the defender comes, you just boot the ball away, right, in the direction they're facing, not, right? So some of those things are here, right? In any game you can put those up. What else do you guys pick up on?
That was positional play versus just playing a position.
Right.
They moved and changed position.
Right. You saw them moving before the ball and getting different, not position, not in a position that they're moving. And I think none is more important than the player who scored the goal. Who scored the goal? Mohammed? The guy that scored the goal is a center back. He's a center back. Right? So again, the position of the play and all that stuff is not important. It's not something you want to lock them in so that they can play and look something like this where it's now this creative, beautiful thing that they play with confidence and right. Right. I ask you guys to listen and see if you can pick up on coaching versus play development. The speaker is still working and this is kind of low. But did anybody hear coaching? Yes. The sideline coaching? Yes. What was being said? Right. Paul Marshall, right? Yeah. How many times did coach say that name? Go Marshall, win it! You gotta go! Right? To the point, if I'm Marshall, I'm gonna stop playing, right? I can't do this. Right? So he's trying to coach, he's trying to tell him what to do in the game as the game is going on, but it's too late. He's telling Marshall when he should go win the ball. Right? Well, that's a concept piece. We should teach a concept of when you win the ball. When the ball is traveling between two players, if the ball is in the air, if the player takes a negative touch, and that's coaching. That happens in the training environment that our players absorb. Not us getting into the game and yelling at them and trying to tell them what to do. It's not going to work then. What about development? Did anybody hear development? It was really subtle. The coach of the other team, when the ball was on the further side of the field, he was telling his players closest to him. Because the player is going forward and turn backwards. And you send them. And so now that's the time that you want to be ready for the ball. You want to get in your positional play to receive it. And that ball went from that player, ping, 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 to the player and players that you score. Coaching versus development. That coach's development is something that he had covered in practice, something that they'd gone over. And now you can remind them, hey, that's the time that you want to. Okay, so those are things that we want to get in the program. Here's a product of these kids are U9s at this time, to where they can move the ball around and play with a certain type of sophistication. Right, here, I want to show you one more. And then I'm ready for your questions, okay? All your questions. Does anybody have a question right now before I get the next one? No?
Actually, I do.
Okay.
This might be too late, but I should ask the impact this one. But if someone did do an academy, can they still qualify?
Yeah. So if I get a question, if somebody didn't do academy, does that disqualify them from getting into the pre-competitive? No. All is welcome in the pre-competitive, right? So there's no denying of certain players away. Alright, so as you look at this, just any observation you have about the play that's going on. No right or wrong, just what you guys are seeing in terms of kids playing game. Alright, we'll stop it there, just for a single time. Alright, observations for me.
No structure, no position playing, right?
No structure, no positional play. They have positional play here a little bit more in terms of what they're trying to expose to like us when we play out of a 2-4-2, so they have that structure in here. Right, but so you're right in one regard, but they do have some sort of right. What else? You wanted the structure. What else? What's your guys' structure?
They have the structure, but they're not utilizing it by passing it and utilizing the structure. They were playing fast, but they didn't really utilize it.
Yeah, that's true. Right, the ball moving a little bit different in here. What else?
They're not moving without the ball.
They're not moving on the ball as much?
Moving without the ball, not getting in a position, getting an open position with it to pass to another player.
Yep. Yep.
Without it, it's more individual.
Right, so the players on the ball, right, the guy who's doing nice and dance and all that stuff, right, the next guy. Right, what else? Right, a couple here for me when I look at this. So the first one, structure, right? There's no structure in terms of, take a look at this. There's no field marking, there's no goalkeeper box, there's no half line, there's no, it's none of that. Now I would share this with you. This is the youth league in Holland. The white team is Ajax, who produces the best players in the world, the best academy in the world. No structure. The goalkeeper doesn't have a box. This is league play. They're playing against PSV, who's another top program in Holland. So for us, when I talk about the structure and we worry less about that stuff. We want this to where they just get in playing. The guy on the ball who is really skillful and right, he's actually a multi-millionaire player right now. But back at U9s, he actually was a U10 player that they brought back down his age group because he had some discipline issues, right? Responsibility and all that stuff. But how good is he on the ball? The other one that I stopped the clip where you wouldn't see, there was a corner kick. And for us, we get on the sideline and experience of them as coaches because we worry so much about the rules and the structure and how it looks and right, that we get on the referees and all that stuff. And all focus should be the players and developing and getting the game. On the corner kick, the ball goes out and the player puts the ball down. The corner is like back in the grass over there, the corner field, and he sets the ball down 12 yards in the field. There's no corner mark, there's no. And the reason for that is for that player to be able to have the distance to play the ball in so that they can finish. The ball went out again and he just placed it in a spot a yard or two from, right, and he measured his distance and he got it in again. Right, so the reason I'm showing you guys this is for us as parents, when you guys go through this, when your kids are developing from year 1 to year 3, understand our plan and understand what we're trying to do in terms of play development. It's for us to produce better individual players so that they can play in any sort of structure later on. Right, that's it for me in terms of the presentation. Any questions from you guys? Something I didn't cover, didn't hit. Yes.
Okay, so how would we know if our player is utilizing their practice well? Like if they're not practicing like you were talking about? Like, would we hear from a coach?
Well, a lot of times we deal with the player individually. So unless it gets to a point where that player is just not, right? Like I said, year 1 is a little bit lenient, year 2, and then year 3. So year 3, I'll give you an example. So I'm over the 12 boys, and there's none of that stuff. So year 3, we've had newest players where I give the players first. I may excuse them for practice, right? Hey, the right frame of mind, right? And then if that doesn't happen, if the leader is not changing, then mom, we'll talk about distribution. So only if it gets there, because the other thing we want to do is to get that rapport with our players. So we don't want to go and tell. We want to be able to give them the opportunity, because again, that leadership, that confidence, that good citizen, all those things they want to be out of them. We would try to just with the child first. Good question. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
So what days are practices?
Good question. So right now, the boys practice, the U10 boys practice Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, from 5 to 6:30. I don't exactly remember this, but the U11 boys, 2013s, they practice from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, from 5 to 6:30. Our 2012 boys, which is the U12, they practice Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, from 6:30 to 8. The idea behind structuring the practice as such is, again, we can have where players can do different things. Our staff can be able to coach within the different programs. So those are the days. More than likely, that's where they're going to stay, because I said our staff, our age group directors remain the same. So it's just like in school, right? You graduate from the first grade, and then you go into the second grade, and you have a new teacher, right? So our U10 directors stay, right? Each director stay with the program, and the players graduate up into that program. Our staff, the associate staff in that program will change based on what they do. Some of them may move, some of them are in school, some of them are now we're developing them as well. That's part of the program. We're developing them as well to take a competitive team. So they may be at that point where we say they're now coaching one of a competitive or full competitive team. So those change them. Yes?
Okay. In terms of scheduling and like family planning and what to expect for the weekends and like the time frames, like I have 3 kids, they're all in a different sport. Like what should we expect in terms of like holding space for the weekend commitment?
So we do use play metrics, right? So if you're in rec, you have a play metric account. If you're pre-competitive, you have one as well. So we do use a calendar in there. So for instance, you're going to have a 4 outlet to start the 4th season. That's going to give you pretty much everything you have in there. Some of the dates we don't have concrete just yet. So for instance, tournaments. So let's say you're doing the United Cup tournament. We have that date on the calendar, but we don't know what that schedule looks like. And most of our events are like that. So if you're doing like the PSL weekend, we know we have a PSL play day, we just don't know exactly when the time is. So that usually happens the week of. And then we just ask you, hey, I can make it, I can't make it, that goes up. So you can get on there and check that possibility so that we know how to move things around.
So it could be like basically any time from early Saturday morning to late Sunday night, like those games could be.
Yeah, if it's a tournament, and most of the times with these younger kids, we try to get them early. But if it's a tournament play is Saturday, the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Any play day can range from, the times can be different. So for instance, I mentioned that we have 5 teams in the age group, 4 teams in the age group. So you may have 1 team that's playing at 9, the next 2 teams are playing at 11, and then 1 team is playing at noon. Right, so that can change in between.
And then like location-wise, you could travel to Hammond, we've gone to
Right.
Danville.
So yeah, so traveling for this program, we don't believe in traveling kids out. The cities you just named, so Hammond, New Orleans, Mandeville, Lafayette, is about the travel that we do here. This past season, or this spring, we did travel 2 of our U12 team to Jackson, Mississippi. Part of that, the idea of that is to expose them to the overnight competition. So if they're to that level, right, so it's we chose a roster that was the 2 rosters that the player were a little bit ahead to expose them to that experience. And we also did that with one of our 2013 team as well. So that's part of the development, expose them to that experience, fully knowledge. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any specific training for goalkeepers?
Oh, good question. Yes, we do. So we do have a specific goalkeeper academy.
Okay.
So goalkeepers train right now Mondays and Wednesdays, I think. And the younger kids go from 5 to 6. So with that, and that's part of the training frequency as well. So if you're training Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, we would tell our players, hey, if you want to invest in goalkeeping on Monday, go to your practice. Don't even come to the field practice because we're going to see you on Wednesday and Thursday. And then some of our kids, like the U12 boys and girls, because they practice a little bit later, they can go to goalkeeper practice first, and then they walk back to their practice and for their group practice.
I'm sorry.
No, wait, that's
so
what this
would
is
they be able to do, like, to choose whether they want to do 1 in the goalkeeping and 2 with the team, or 2 with the goalkeeping, 1 with the team, or is it specific?
You can choose. So if a player is leaning more towards the goalkeeper side and they want to invest more in that, yeah, you might do 2 and 1. If you want to, hey, I'm doing goalkeeper, I'm not too sure, just check whatever, okay, you may do 1 and 2. Right? It's up to whether that player is in terms of what they want to get. It's a good question. Yes, ma'am.
Do you guys ever cap the number of participants?
Good question.
If not, like, what is generally your average number?
So we find that 60, right around 60 players is a very manageable number, very good number for us. This year we had 80-something in the U10s and the U12. No, U10s and U11s. And the U12 we had 7-something on the boys' side. On the girls' side, the U12 we had 48, I think around 50, and we're there 2. So the ideal number for us to manage what we want to find is 0. We've talked about capping off part of the league and having the in-house league is to deal with the larger numbers as well. That gives us something to do more here instead of trying to get the mass group to go to Mandeville. So that's one way to try to address those things. Because what we don't want to do is at this stage to say, hey, you can't come here right now. You want the players you want them to develop more. So we have a larger pool at the time. Yes, ma'am.
One more, sorry.
Good.
Is this the tryout for the 14, 15, 16? Is it a tryout based? I'm not sure I understand that.
Right. Good question. So when we do player placement, we invite the U10s, U11s, and U12s. So I just want to have a presentation where we not put them on teams. So then people ask, well, Marvin, why is it my trial? Right? It gives us a chance to assess the player pool, to get prepared for that player pool, as opposed to we take care of all the other teams and then I go, oh, I need to get staff. We now have 60 kids. Oh my. So this just gets us organized and ready for the group. And what it does as well, I want them to come in. Any trial you go into is so nerve-wracking, right? You as a parent, you should know very good, right? And the players, they worry. So I would like them to go through the process over and over without worrying about if I make a team or not. So the idea behind bringing them in year one, they're in the trials, they're part of it, they see it, they get the numbers, they go through the same process, right? We gotta get a chance to assess them, and then yeah, that helps for us to get organized as well. Yeah.
So they do attend on
yes.
that. Then that's just for y'all to assess the situation.
Yes, they do attend. Yeah, we want them there. Yeah. We rather you there again for those reasons I just mentioned, and then for us to know what our numbers look like. Because again, if we're not prepared and we get, it's going to be a bad chance it's going to be a bad experience, poor experience for everybody.
Yes. So this is basically just piggybacking off the same thing. I'm just trying to understand. So if you attend the player placement, you will be then invited to participate in the fall program?
Yes.
If you do not attend the player placement, then there may not be a spot for you in the fall? Is that what
There may not. There may not.
Okay.
If the numbers are there, there may not.
Okay. So priority goes to the kids who go to the player.
Yeah, we want you there for sure.
Yeah.
As I said, it makes a whole lot of difference for us to have you there. Now, I would say this, and we had this year, right? We had many folks, because our numbers went, we had many folks waiting to get in, and many folks, I had to say, I'm sorry, we're not adding any players to the program anymore. And to me, that gutted me, because I don't want to turn a player away, not from money or anything, that's not what it's about. But just simply, if they want that opportunity, I want to afford that opportunity. And we had to turn players away. Right? So it makes sense to get in the placement, you sign up, and you go through that process. Now, I would say this, we do have the numbers allow us to, we do have, on the boys' side particularly, we do have where the boys may be baseball players. So in the fall, they play in the pre-competitive, in the spring they roll into baseball. Our registration process allows you to register per season. It allows you to register for the whole year. Right? So when we look at our numbers, we say, okay, well, we have 70 kids for the fall. And then we look and see, well, how many of those kids are fall-only registered. And so we may say, okay, all right, well, we have 50 of them are not, they go into baseball, so we now have 55 kids in the program, we can add some programs. So if that happens in the spring, we can add some players in the area. So that didn't happen this year. We couldn't add anybody. We couldn't even have the open door policy. We couldn't allow players to go train because we were bursting at the seams. It was just 20 players. Anything else? I'm here all night. Keep it coming.
But what's next after this? What's the registration process and the dates for the trial?
Right. Yeah. So next week we start our player placement with the on Monday and Tuesday the 10s and 11s, and then Wednesday, Thursday the 12s, and then the following week the Monday and Tuesday with the U13s, the rising U13s. Yes.
I just want to confirm, because I have kids that are back.
Yeah.
A lot of the newsletters and the communication emails said 15 or 16, 2013 inches.
Okay, so good. Yeah, that's a good question. Oh, so we invited 2016s to the open house tonight. The idea behind that, we have an interest from 2016s on the boys' side and the girls' side. And so what I don't want to do is for those players to come into the 50s. So rather than me telling them, hey, there's no spot for you right now, I've extended this to the 16s to see if we can get a group of 16s. If we do get a group of 16s, we offer the program to the 16s. Right, so how that may look is with the 16s, they probably fall along the same practice schedule with the 50s. And then they will have their own group. Meaning they still have the program, which they will still have the option to where players are pulled into different events and different teams. Yeah.
So I went to go and try to register for the 16, but it's not good idea.
Right. So the 16s, we don't have a registration for them this year.
So
right. So we're going to shoot you guys, and we want to get the interest. And it may be something we have you guys come to the registration, I mean to the trials, and register on the side.
That's for boys and girls?
Yeah. Anything else? Alright, so I want to say this, and you guys will get information about this here probably tomorrow. But with our player placement process, I want to make everybody aware. This year, we talk about innovation and using different things here. This year, we're going to use our Playmetrics software to conduct trials for player placement. And so what that would look like, the Playmetrics is we'll use an app on the cell phone, so our staff will be on their cell phone during the process. And I want to make parents aware of this. It's not our staff is there, Facebooking or chatting. They actually, that's how they're going to evaluate, assess the players from their cell phone behind them. Okay, so just make sure that you guys, when you come and try out, that we do that. That's part of the process. When you check in, it's going to be the same thing. The check-in is going to be whoever's checking in is going to be with their cell phone as well through our Playmetrics platform. Anything else? Yes.
Do you know where the tryouts are going to be at?
Yes. So the tryouts starting next week will be on the backfields.
27.
Yeah. 23 through 27.
Okay.
Yeah.